They say if you love her, let her go. But what if letting her go is the one thing that finally makes her realize what she lost? Most guys react after a breakup. They chase. They explain. They text long messages hoping she'll understand. But here's the brutal truth. The more you try to prove your worth after she's already pulled away, the less she feels it. You don't need to chase. You don't need to beg. What you need is silence. Because silence after a breakup isn't weakness. It's power. It's the shift from emotional chaos to masculine clarity. It's the moment she no longer has access to your energy. And that, more than any text, any apology, or any act of desperation, is what breaks her rhythm. Ignoring her isn't about playing games. It's about ending the game entirely. And when you truly go silent, not fake silence, not waiting for her silence, but real, grounded, emotional detachment, you create the one thing she never expected: absence. Not the kind that makes her pity you. The kind that makes her question everything. She doesn't feel it immediately. When you first go silent, she expects it to be temporary. She assumes you're just upset, licking your wounds, waiting for the right moment to reach out. In her mind, you'll send that message. You'll watch her stories. You'll accidentally like her post. She thinks your silence is part of your emotional reaction, not your decision. Because she's been conditioned to believe that men always return. That no matter how cold she was, how distant she got, how many mixed signals she sent, if you truly cared, you'd keep chasing. You'd fight harder. You'd prove your love. That's the story she's told. And that's why your silence confuses her. At first, she pretends not to notice. She posts something cute. A mirror selfie. A quote about growth. A song lyric that sounds deep but vague enough to keep your curiosity burning. And when she doesn't see a reaction, when your name doesn't pop up in her story views, when your messages stay silent, she starts to feel it. Not panic. Not regret. Just curiosity. Is he really not going to reach out? Did he move on already? Why is he so quiet? The first wave is subtle. It's not emotional yet. It's ego. Because ego hates to be ignored. Especially if she was the one in control during the breakup. If she was the one who pulled away, ended things, or created enough distance to force your hand. She expected you to fall apart. To spiral. To start texting her at 2 a.m. saying you miss her. But you didn't. And that's where the shift begins. Because silence, when it's real, doesn't just speak. It echoes. She starts checking your page. Quietly. Anonymously. Maybe from a fake account. Maybe through a friend. She wants to know where your focus went. Who you might be with. Whether you're already smiling with someone else. And the worst part for her? You're not giving her anything. No breadcrumbs. No signs of emotional chaos. No attempts to win her back. And that's when her certainty starts to crack. Because for the first time, she feels something she didn't expect to feel. Uncertainty. Not about herself. About you. She doesn't know where she stands. And that drives her mad. Not because she wants you back just yet, but because she no longer knows if she could get you back if she tried. That's the difference. That's the crack in the mirror. And once that crack forms, everything starts to shift. Now she starts to replay everything. The conversations. The last message. The tone in your voice when you said goodbye. She zooms in on moments she once dismissed, now wondering if she missed something important. And what was once a clean break becomes a psychological itch she can't quite scratch. Because your silence did something most men never do. It gave her space to feel the absence. And not the kind that feeds her ego. The kind that stares back at her with no apology and no explanation. And that kind of silence? That's where the power begins. It's been days now. You still haven't said a word. No call. No late night text. No, I miss you. And at first, she told herself it was fine. That she needed space. That this is what she wanted. But now, her thoughts won't shut up. She doesn't even know what she's feeling. Somewhere between frustration and confusion. It's not love. Not yet. But it's something. And it grows louder every day you stay quiet. She checks her phone more than usual. Not to text you, just to look. To see if you watched her story. To see if maybe you posted something she could decode. She's not reaching out. But she's no longer comfortable either. The silence has become tension. It presses into her mind like a question mark she can't erase. And even if she's surrounded by people, even if she's pretending to move on, there's a glitch. A background process running in her emotional system. And that process is called, why isn't he reacting? You didn't view her stories. You didn't comment when she posted a thirst trap with the caption, healed and happy. You didn't like the one photo she hoped you'd see. You didn't take the bait. And now, Now she's starting to feel annoyed. Annoyed because you broke the script. She might not text you directly yet, but she'll start acting out, posting more, being louder online, tagging friends, dropping flirty emojis in comments, trying to look unbothered while clearly fishing for your attention. Because if you respond, she wins. But if you don't, that's when the spiral begins. See, women are emotional creatures. They don't just process breakups logically. They process through feedback, through control, through emotional leverage. They want to see you hurting, just a little. They want to feel like they still have a hold on you, even if they're the ones who left, even if they're the ones who said it was over. Your pain is their reassurance. Your reaction is their proof that they mattered. But your silence? It's not passive. It's confrontational in its own way. It's refusal. Refusal to validate. Refusal to perform. Refusal to continue the emotional loop. And by staying silent, you're showing her something stronger than anger. Emotional sovereignty. A type of control most men never find. And that shakes her more than yelling ever could. She begins to doubt the entire script she's used to. Maybe she thought you were the type to beg, to cry, to blow up her phone, to come back crawling. But you're not. You're just gone. Not ghosting. Not bitter. Just emotionally unavailable, by choice. And that changes everything. Because now she has to ask herself the question no woman likes to face. Was I wrong about him? And once that question gets in her head, it stays. You've taken away her emotional control. Not by force, but by removing your response. You've stopped feeding her image of you. You've stopped playing her emotional game. And now she has nothing to fight, nothing to fix, nothing to seduce, nothing to push against. That void, it starts to eat at her. Not all at once, but piece by piece. The stillness gets louder. The silence becomes presence. Your absence becomes a message. Because when there's no contact, there's no closure. And without closure, the mind creates stories. Stories full of doubt, jealousy, and regret. And you? You don't even need to do anything. She's doing it all to herself. This is where it starts to hurt her. Not all at once. Not with tears or panic. But slowly, quietly, deep under the surface, like a discomfort she can't explain. Her thoughts become obsessive. She starts replaying every interaction. Was she too cold? Too distant? Should she have said something different? Why did he just disappear so clean? She won't admit it to anyone. She'll still act fine, maybe even say she's relieved. But when the room gets quiet and the attention fades, that's when she feels the first real sting. Because emotional power works in silence. And the longer you stay quiet, the more she starts to feel the imbalance. At first, she thought she was above it. Now, she's wondering if you ever truly cared. And that's what messes with her most. She expected the pain to hit you harder. She thought you'd be the one posting sad quotes. The one watching her stories from a burner account. The one who would eventually come to his senses and text. But instead, you vanished. Not in bitterness. Not in weakness. In control. That's when her anxiety creeps in. She might wake up thinking about you. Check your profile again. Look through old photos. Reread a message or two. And wonder why it still feels so unresolved. Because deep down, she doesn't want you to be over her. Not yet. Not this easily. She wants to feel missed. She wants to know she mattered. But your silence tells her something she wasn't ready for. That maybe she didn't matter as much as she thought. And in her mind, that's unacceptable. So she starts looking for a way to test you. Maybe she posts something emotionally baiting. Maybe she shows up where she knows you might see it. Maybe she accidentally texts you, something vague and familiar. Hope you're okay. Just saw something that reminded me of you. It's been a while. These aren't just messages. They're probes. She's trying to check your emotional temperature, to see if she still has access, to see if the door is still open. But here's where most men fail. They get that message and they react. They overthink it. They read it 10 times. They send a paragraph in return. They break the silence. But not you. Because you understand what's really going on. She's not reconnecting. She's checking her power. So you stay grounded. You stay silent. And the more you don't respond, the more she feels exposed. Because for the first time, she can't predict you. And when a woman can't predict you, she can't control the narrative. That's when fear creeps in. Not fear of you. Fear of what it means if you're really gone. Now she's not just curious. She's uncomfortable, restless, and maybe even regretful. And if you've ever seen this happen, if you've ever stayed silent and watched her energy start to shift, drop a comment below. Tell your story. Let's be honest about what really happens when you stop giving your power away. And if this is hitting something inside you right now, you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. I'll be right here when you're ready for the next level. She can't take the silence anymore. Not because she misses you deeply, but because the unknown is driving her insane. She starts imagining things. Is he with someone else? Did he meet someone better? Was he pretending to care the whole time? Every unanswered question becomes a story, and every story adds weight to her anxiety. Now she starts reaching, not in love, in panic, because control is slipping, and control was the only thing holding her together. You're not replying. You're not reacting. You're not checking her stories. You've unplugged. So now she escalates. Maybe she sends a bold message. Something like, "Wow, I didn't expect you to just disappear." Or, "Guess I was wrong about you." Or, "I hope ignoring me makes you feel strong." But even those messages are still about control. She doesn't want clarity. She wants a reaction. She wants to know that her presence still stirs something in you. Even if it's anger. Even if it's pain. Because silence? It gives her nothing. And that nothing is deafening. She might go on a rebound date. Post it. Tag it. Make sure it's visible. She's not even into the guy. But she needs you to see it. To feel something. To break. But when you don't flinch, when you don't bite, that's when it really hits her. Because now she's playing a game, alone. The audience she thought she had is gone. The emotional tether is cut. And all she's left with is herself. That's when she realizes something terrifying. She doesn't know who she is without your reaction. You were the mirror she used to reflect her worth. Your attention was her feedback loop. And now, the loop is broken. Not by accident. By choice. It messes with her more than she expected. Because when a man removes himself without drama, when he stops arguing, stops chasing, stops proving, that silence becomes unignorable. Not loud, but undeniable. She starts wondering if maybe she misjudged you. Maybe you weren't weak. Maybe you were just done. The moment she senses that possibility, the game shifts completely. She might go from hot to cold in one day. One message full of emotion. The next, cold silence from her. She's trying to balance her own internal chaos to reset the scale, but it's not working. Because you're not reacting. You're not apologizing. You're not showing up to fix anything. And that's when she feels something she hasn't felt in a long time, powerless. And for someone who used emotional control to feel safe, powerlessness is terrifying. So she tries to find little ways to reclaim it. She'll talk to someone else. She'll try to get attention somewhere new. But it's never the same. Because no one else is giving her the silence you are. And silence, when it's real, is louder than anything she's ever heard. And this time, it echoes in places she didn't even know existed. She scrolls through old memories late at night, not for comfort, but for clues. She tries to laugh with others, but it doesn't land the same. Because it's not just that you're silent. It's that you're not chasing. You're not explaining. You're not trapped in her orbit anymore. And that absence, it breaks the illusion that she was always the one with the power. And then it hits her. Not in public. Not with friends. Alone, late at night, when no one's watching. That moment when the weight of your silence finally breaks through the surface and hits something real. At first, it was curiosity. Then tension. Then frustration. But now, it's something else. It's grief. She scrolls through old photos, not to post, not to perform, just to feel something real again. She opens the chat thread but doesn't type. She starts to see the parts of you she never appreciated. The calm in your voice. The way you listened. The way you stayed patient when she was being cold. You were a mirror she didn't want to look into until you disappeared. And now, she's no longer in control of the narrative. Because now, there's a possibility that you actually let go. That you're no longer waiting. That you're no longer hurting. That you're actually free. And that freedom, your freedom, stings in a way she didn't expect. Because it's not revenge. It's not coldness. It's not you becoming someone else. It's just absence. Pure, powerful, undeniable absence. And it's louder than anything you could have said. She starts thinking about coming back. About what she'd say. About how she could open the door without losing face. Maybe she'll check in, pretend it's casual. Maybe she'll admit she's been thinking about you. But the problem is, your silence has changed something. Not just in her. In you. And now the energy feels different. She doesn't know if she still has access. And that's terrifying. Because when she ended it, she thought she was in control. But your lack of reaction rewrote the ending. And now she has to sit with the truth. She didn't break you, she freed you. And nothing scares a woman more than realizing she lost a man who would have done anything for her, but stopped when he realized she wouldn't do the same. That's the moment when regret replaces ego, when reflection replaces control, when the silence stops being a challenge and becomes a mirror. And in that mirror, she no longer sees a man waiting. She sees a man rising. And that image, calm, strong, silent, is the last thing she expected to fear. But here it is. The man she thought she could always call now feels out of reach. And she realizes, you didn't disappear. You just moved forward. You rebuilt your frame, piece by piece, without asking her to witness it. And because she wasn't part of the process, she no longer feels entitled to the outcome. And now she's not just afraid of losing you, she's afraid that someone else might gain what she never protected. That another woman will see the man she took for granted and won't repeat her mistake. And that pain, that fear, that realization, it cuts deeper than any message you could have sent. Because she's not crying over you now, she's crying over herself. Over the version of her that let something rare slip away. And the scariest part? She doesn't know if she can ever get that man back again. Not because he hates her, but because he grew past her. What started as silence now feels like a wall, but not one you built out of spite. It's not made of anger. It's made of growth, of space, of distance that she didn't think you could create. Because most men don't. Most men chase. Most men break the silence. Most men can't handle the discomfort of being ignored, so they fold. They reach out just to feel seen, just to feel something. But you didn't. And that silence, that stillness, became power. Not performative power. Not the fake, look at me, I'm doing great kind. Real power. The kind that doesn't need to prove anything. The kind that speaks through absence. You didn't run. You didn't beg. You didn't explode. You just let go, and that's what she never saw coming. Because when you walked away, you didn't slam the door. You just didn't look back. And now she's the one standing there, door wide open, wondering what happened. Wondering how the man she thought she could always access became unreachable. And it's not that you blocked her. It's not that you hate her. It's not even that you stopped caring. It's that you recentered your life around yourself. You reclaimed your attention, your emotional currency, your time. You stopped pouring into something that wasn't pouring back. And that shift is something she feels in her core, even if she can't explain it. Because every woman can feel when a man detaches for real. When the strings get cut. When the connection no longer feeds her ego. It's the moment the game ends. And that's when her actions change. She might text you directly now. Call. Apologize. Try to talk like adults. She might finally say the words you thought you'd never hear. But here's the truth. You don't need them anymore. Not because you're cold. Not because you're cruel. But because you've already said everything you needed to say through silence. And if she couldn't hear you when you were present, she'll never fully understand you now that you're gone. And that's okay. You're not trying to teach her a lesson. You're not punishing her. You're just living your life without her at the center of it. And that's the biggest plot twist of all. Because most women are used to being the emotional center of a man's universe. But now she's on the outside. Watching. Wondering. Feeling. And you? You're not chasing. You're not performing. You're not pretending to be okay. You are okay. Not because she's gone, but because you return to yourself. That's the gift of silence when it's real. It gives you space to rebuild, to rethink, to reframe the entire story. And when you do that, you realize something powerful. You never needed to win her back. You just needed to stop giving her the version of you that needed her approval to feel worthy. Because the moment you stopped seeking closure, you gave yourself peace. The moment you stopped trying to explain yourself, you gave yourself freedom. And the moment you stopped waiting for her to come around, you stepped into a version of yourself that no longer needs her validation. And once you become that man, silent, grounded, unshaken, there's no going back. That's the man she remembers forever. The one who didn't scream. The one who didn't chase. The one who didn't fold. The one who walked away with dignity. And to every man watching this who's been through that silence, who's felt that tension, who's held the line, who's rebuilt quietly, I see you. You're not alone. And you're not weak for feeling it. But you are stronger for standing through it. She'll remember you. Not for the things you said. Not for the things you gave. But for the moment you stopped explaining, stopped chasing, and simply walked. That silence? It said everything. And whether she ever admits it or not, a part of her will always wonder what would have happened if she hadn't pushed you away. But you? You're not stuck in that story anymore. You're writing a new one. And the next woman you give your energy to, she'll have to earn it. Not because you're bitter. Because now you understand your worth. And once a man knows his worth, no one else gets to write his ending. And if you've ever lived this story out, if you've ever felt that silence, held that line, and walked out stronger. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you learned, and if this hit something real inside you. Don't just scroll. Subscribe, because this is only the beginning.